Music has deep, soulful roots right here in Louisville, and this September, as we celebrate Gospel Music Heritage Month, we have a special treat for all the gospel music lovers out there, myself included. I listen to gospel music every morning before, on the weekends when I'm getting ready for the show. And we're joined by Mr. Darcy Thompson with the Louisville Story Program, and he's joining us to talk about their latest project, I'm Glad About It, an exciting album release concert happening next weekend. Good morning, Darcy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Crystal. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. Well, Darcy, this project is such a powerful tribute to Louisville's gospel legacy. So share with us a little bit more about the project, I'm Glad About It, and talk to us about the inspiration behind your latest project.
Well, I'll start with the inspiration. So at the Louisville Story Program, we do a variety of documentary projects that sort of allow us to learn about our community, all developed by folks who are from historically underrepresented communities in Louisville. So voices and stories we don't get to hear often enough. And so we long thought about doing a project of delving into the history of music in this city, and the history of gospel music is so rich. So over the last 3 years, we've spent time finding the recordings that were made back between 1958 and about 1980, the original vinyl recordings, and we had to look all over the world. We had to get help as far away as New Zealand, digitize all that music, but also we care about context in the story. So we work with many folks in the gospel community here who are part of that history, help build that legacy, and who know the history, and they developed this book to go along with the music.
Wow, and so this was not a small feat because nearly 1,000 original recordings were, you kind of worked through all of that. You were actually trying to extract music from vinyl records. So real quick, talk a little bit about that process.
Well, we had to learn about that. We had to get some tips from folks who do that and set up the right equipment to do good transfers for high quality audio. And then for the songs, the 900 songs we have so far that we found are going to be on a free digital archive. But then also we sent 83 of them to an engineer who specializes in restoration, who restored the transfers to high quality songs, and they appear on these 4 CDs. They have 83 songs on the actual set. So that was a more intensive process by a professional who does that. So it's a lot of work with the music, but fortunately the records that exist can be tracked down, but the people who know the history, many have passed on, and some are getting older, and so, that was the time sensitive
Right,
part
and
of
so
it.
glad we have all of that compiled. And I just real quick want to talk about it. I was so fascinated to learn about Cable Baptist Church, and often it's called the Music Church, but to hear that legendary gospel icons like Albertina Walker of the Caravans and James Cleveland, you could find him on the keys one Sunday morning. Talk about that fascinating history.
Right, so the release here has those 4 CDs, but also a 200-page book written by elders in the gospel community, and there's a couple chapters here. They do speak a lot about Cable Baptist Church, especially during the time when Reverend C.C. Calloway was pastor, and when Paul Merritt was there and Larry Adams was there, and it was just a hotbed. And then all kinds of folks in town would perform, but also any esteemed guests on these national acts that pass through town would often end up
would just show up
Cable.
one Sunday morning.
That's right.
There.
That's
and
right.
you see my friend, Mr. Jason Claiborne, who has a rich gospel music history here in this community. His grandmother, Wilma Claiborne, who created her own gospel music record label. So much. I could go on all day, but Mr. Darcy, thank you so much.
The one thing I'll say is, you said it's for gospel music lovers. I would say if you don't think of yourself as a gospel music lover, I got to tell you this. It's not what you're thinking. You need to tune into this. This is about excellence in our community and the abundance of it. And this music is gonna move you. It's extraordinary music, and the stories, the context of all these people who built this legacy, often with very few resources, is a remarkable story of our community. And this is for everybody.
And for everyone in the Louisville Story Program's book and album release concert, I'm Glad About It. They're going to wrap it up with the concert, and this is going to be held Saturday, September 28th, 7:30 p.m. at the Brown Theater. Tickets are available online at KentuckyPerformingArts.org, and you don't want to miss this incredible celebration of gospel music.